Hey guys, it's Kyle here, and today I am joined by my friend Jude.
Hello.
And today, him and I are going to be discussing our 5 most underrated anime characters. And Jude, since you're my guest today, I'll have you go first.
So the first character that I want to talk about, um, he gets outshined a lot by his older brother, and that's Alphonse Elric. He's a very kind soul.
How sweet and gentle she is. It's all right. You're safe now.
He's a very admirable person, and you can see that he cares about his family very much so, and you can see that how forgiving he is with how he is with Hohenheim compared to how Edward is. And even though I think Edward's is a little bit more understanding, or it makes more sense with Edward than I think it does with Alphonse. It just shows a lot of like mental growth that Alphonse has.
hmm Yeah, I love that scene where he calls Hohenheim his father without a blink of an eye. It he seems more mature than Ed. I still like Ed better because many reasons, but I still like Alphonse a lot. I think Al is in my top 5 favorite Full Metal characters.
Al's my favorite.
Sometimes the voice gets a little bit. I don't know. The voice is a little. I don't know how to say it, but
Annoying.
not annoying. It's just.
Doesn't fit.
I guess so, and it's just kind of strange having his kind of voice and that like intimidating
And the
armor.
big hole. I think that's the point though. Like like he comes off as like so intimidating, that's the whole joke. Like he gets confused as being the full metal alchemist when Ed is. But he's like in this big hulking armor, but he's like this very kind and considerate soul that's in there.
hmm Yeah, yeah. I still really like Al, but I think he's just. I just find I like a couple more characters. But yeah, I understand why he's underrated because yeah, people don't really talk about him as much as
Yeah.
they should. Um, by the way, I forgot to mention this already, but me and him both came up with 5, and we have not told each other our characters yet. So this is completely new and everything. So the first one I wanted to talk about was Android 16. I feel like he gets underrated because he's like the only person who dies in Dragon Ball and doesn't come back. And I feel like people forget about him. When to be honest, he might. I think he probably was maybe my second or maybe even my favorite character in the Cell Saga. I just love this like big intimidating guy, and he's such a kind soul. He loves nature and everything. The only thing about him is that he was programmed to destroy Goku, and even then he ends up not. He ends up forgetting about that and moving on from that. And even when he meets Goku, he still has that little urge to kill him, but just doesn't think about it and doesn't go along with the idea. And to be honest, he definitely top 3 favorite sacrifices in the whole show, and he probably has my favorite speech in the whole show. His speech to Gohan and everything. I love Andrew 16. I think he is very underrated. I definitely think he's in my top 5 at Dragon Ball characters.
Yeah, I love 16 too. He doesn't really do anything that I like. Aside from like his sacrifice, he doesn't really do anything that I particularly love per se. But he also doesn't do anything I hate. He's a very middle ground character. I mean, I would say that I love him, but I probably like. I mean, he probably is a more well written character, but I probably like 18 and 17 more than him. Not by a lot,
Yeah.
but
Well, I understand because those guys get a lot more screen time, and I don't get why. I really don't get why they never brought him back, and they only brought him back, and I hate the way they brought him back in the game. It was so annoying.
fighters.
Yeah, and yeah, I hate the way. Was it fighters or I think it was
Yeah.
fighters. Yeah, I hate the way they bring him back just to be a servant to that in
20.
21, and then he ends
Yeah.
up just dying again. It's like, what was the point? It was such a
Yeah, but that story mode's awful. It's fun.
yeah. No, yeah, I feel like he's very underrated because people don't really talk about him as much. Those two are like tied for my favorite characters in that specific arc.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he put up a good fight against Cell. He's
Well,
like the
this
only
one,
android who he's the only android who really put up a good fight against Cell.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, he has definitely one of my top 5 maybe favorite moments of the whole show. And it's a crime they haven't brought him back yet. And they brought
Well,
freaking 17 back, which I love 17, but
I don't think he doesn't really need to come back because he served his purpose really well.
Well, yeah, I guess that's why. It's sad, and people don't even they never mention him in the show again.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. You do kind of expect 18 or 17 to mention him. Honestly, especially 17, considering
Yeah.
that he's like a park ranger,
Yeah,
and that's something that 16 would probably love to do.
yeah. They never mention him, and I don't get it. I don't get why.
Mhm.
All right, I'm done with that. But like, yeah, Andrew 16, he's a great character. I've definitely put him in. He's definitely in my favorite characters of all time.
Drawing more characters.
Yeah.
All right. This next one of mine, I don't know how much you'll agree with it, but mainly because of how outshined he gets by the other characters in the series, or not necessarily outshined, but like how he gets talked about. Pain.
Pain?
Yeah. You might disagree with it, but
I do
like,
disagree with that. But
no.
disagree
Listen. Like, you never see anyone ever talk about pain. I haven't, at least I haven't seen it in a while. And especially, maybe this is wrong to be mentioning, but especially like on places like Instagram, you know, you see like these videos of people like respecting like different Naruto characters, and Pain is never there, and or like there will be polls of like Pain or Sasuke, and then it's just like always Sasuke over Pain, or even like Madara over Pain.
Oh yeah, I
And-
definitely agree. I think he's a way better villain than any of the other Naruto characters.
Yeah, and it's more of like, it's maybe he's not necessarily underrated. It's just he's like, people think that Madara and pretty much any other Naruto villain, even like Obito, is better than Pain, when that's not true at
Yeah,
all.
they are.
So he's underrated in that sense.
See, if you were to say Nagato, I would definitely agree with you.
They're the same character,
Well, yeah, but people more talk about Pain more than.
but they're
they do
the same
Nagato.
character.
Yeah, I know they're the same character, but they don't never. But Nagato never gets mentioned. It's always Pain, everything.
But yeah, you never see anyone talk about Pain.
I mean, I don't really know because I'm not the biggest Naruto fan, so I don't really look at any videos or anything about Naruto. So I wouldn't know. I mean, I still love Pain. He's my favorite villain in the show and my third favorite character in the whole show. I guess I don't pay attention, but if you say so, dude.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just at least what I see.
Yeah, he's definitely definitely one of the best. And his saga or his arc, I should say, is best best Naruto arc ever. I think.
It's one of the best shonen arcs ever too.
Oh yeah, Shonen. Yeah, best art. Yeah, it's great. So for my fourth one, I have. See, I was debating if I should say either Toto from Jujutsu Kaisen or Shikaku, but I'm gonna say Shikaku because one, you don't know Toto, so I really wouldn't have much to say about that matter. But I think Shikaku is definitely one of the most underrated Naruto characters. He gives like some of the best, like, how do you say it? I wouldn't say speeches. Maybe it is a speech. His both his speeches to or his talks, dad talks, whatever you want to call it, to Shikamaru are some of the best in the whole show. For one, whenever Shikamaru almost quits being ninja after the whole Sasuke retrieval stuff, and the second, whenever he's talking about talking to Shikamaru about Asuma dying, and he's telling him to let it all out.
さらけ出しまい。悲しみも恐れも憤りも何もかも腹ん中全部。ほな、拾ってやるぞ。
It's such an emotional moment for Shikamaru. And I definitely think Shikaku is probably one of my favorite dads in all of anime. He's great. And it's sad when he dies. And I feel like people don't really talk about him. They say, oh, Minato, but I definitely think Shikaku is the best dad in the whole series. And one of the best ever. And him and Shikamaru's relationship, like dad and father relationship, is awesome. And the fact that he was willing to let Shikamaru be friends with Naruto when Naruto at the time was being ostracized, whatever, from his whole the whole village. And Shikamaru asked him like, why does everyone hate him? And he's like saying, do you hate him? And then Shikamaru tells him, no, I don't. Then be friends with him, like stuff like that. He's such a wise and amazing character. Really think he's very underrated and doesn't get enough love as he should. Because honestly, I'd probably say he's my favorite dad in anime. I might, come to regret that
What?
because I might, I might be forgetting other people. But I definitely think he's my favorite dad.
You like him more than Hohenheim?
Yes, I do.
Alright, Kyle.
As a dad, I'm talking about as a dad, not a character, but as a dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you might be overrating him a little bit by saying that.
Well, I need to think
Okay,
about that,
okay.
but-
It's not that I think he's underrated. It's just I think that he's rated exactly how he should be.
How would you
Like,
mean?
okay, he has good moments, but all right. Like, I wouldn't say that makes him underrated at all. He just has good, like 3 good moments.
Great moments.
One great moment and 2 other good moments. And one of those great moments, it wasn't really his shine. It was Shikamaru's.
What do you mean? He's the one
And-
giving the pep talk to freaking Shikamaru.
Bro, it wasn't even that much of a pep talk. He was playing like that game with him, and then he was like, "You gotta let out your rage, bro." And then he left while Shikamaru was having that rage scene.
Well, he let
you
him
know?
get all his emotions out, and then later he says, "I'll pick up the pieces."
Yeah, but
later,"
would
which
you
is-
say that he's the best dad in all of anime?
I might be stretching that, right? But
Yeah,
he's
you
definitely one
are.
of my favorites.
All right, man.
Yeah, he's like he's
Strong
an
statement.
actual good father. You don't see that much in anime. All the fathers are like bad guys most of the time, but he's like one of the few fathers that's an actual father to their son. You know, because you think about
All right.
think about all the other fathers in anime. Like they either aren't around, for example, like Hohenheim, or they die early, like say Thor's from Vinland Saga. So
That doesn't make them bad fathers.
I'm not saying
Well,
they're
with
bad. No,
Thor's
I know.
case.
I'm not saying that they're bad fathers, but they don't get enough.
You like him more than Thor's?
No, I don't. I'm saying, as
As a dad?
he's great because he's there with his son the whole time, and he's an actual good father.
All right, Kyle.
That's what I think. I love Shikaku, and I feel he doesn't get as much love as he should.
I think he gets exactly the amount of love that he should.
All right.
All
He's
right.
also hilarious as well, by the way. I forgot to mention, but he's also freaking hilarious.
Okay, you can go ahead and start your little Shikaku fan club.
Bet I will.
I hope you do. All right. For my third one, I was kind of going back and forth between the two. You can say, see, I was nervous about if one of the characters that I was considering was considered underrated or not. But in the end, I guess he's not. So I am choosing Crocodile, and the other character that I was considering was Whitebeard. And the only reason why I was thinking Whitebeard was because on the recent 2021 One Piece character polls, they had Marco the Phoenix, which is Whitebeard's first division commander, over him. And that just kind of shocked me. But I guess I'll choose Crocodile.
I have no idea. People love Crocodile, dude.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
then I'm just gonna choose Whitebeard then.
All right, choose Whitebeard.
Okay,
That would have been
and-
more better. Yeah.
All right, okay, then Whitebeard. Sorry, Crocodile. See, Whitebeard. He's the actual best dad in all of anime. He is the most accepting, the most forgiving. He doesn't care if you're the son of someone that he hated. He'll forgive you for that. He'll welcome you open arms in his crew. His only rule is that you don't backstab your other crewmates, your other brothers. That's his only rule. And he is so accepting. He'll start a whole war over you if you get captured. He'll start a whole war over you. That's how much he loves his sons. And they're not even by blood. That's how much of a good father he is. They're not even by blood. And his whole goal wasn't just, to get treasure. It wasn't, to find fame or glory, which he inevitably does. But it's to have a family. And he does. He has an awesome little family. And he's a great character. And I feel like why people don't really give him consideration spoiler alert,
Mhm.
by the way, is because he, dies in the arc that he was featured in,
Mhm.
and he doesn't. Well, as far as I know, where I am in the show right now, he doesn't really get that much later, and even if he does, it'll just be in flashbacks.
Mhm.
Um, so that's probably why people don't talk about him as much. But like when he was in that arc, he was so well developed and complex. It just shows how much of a genius Oda is at writing. Like he brings in this like pretty much like you've been introduced to Whitebeard before, but he brings in this pretty much new character into the fray, and it shows just how and you feel for him immediately because of he's really just a father fighting for his son.
Mhm.
And as someone who has personal issues with stuff like that, it really is heartwarming, and he's a great character, and he's my favorite One Piece character at the moment.
See, maybe I'd agree with you, but I haven't got to that part of the show yet. So
You
I've
know,
seen Whitebeard already. I've seen his introduction, that one introduction of his already when he's with Shanks messenger.
yeah.
But that really wasn't much of a. I don't know what to think of him yet. So, but I've heard great stuff about him. I've got spoiled and stuff already from stuff with him. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I'd like him just as much as not maybe just as much as you, but I'd definitely probably like him and probably you say he's one of the best as maybe. Um, how you
I'd say
describe?
he's the best.
Yeah. Then yeah, I would probably agree with you, but I haven't got to that part yet, so
Mhm.
I have really nothing to say on that matter, so I can't really give my opinion. I love his design though, and the fact
Yeah,
that
he's a good
he's a
designer.
monster basically. He looks like
Yeah, he's 21 feet tall.
yeah.
It also helps that he has my favorite devil fruit,
Yeah.
the Trimmer fruit. It's awesome.
I can't wait to
Anyways,
get to Marineford.
yeah, dude, it's a treat.
All right, for my third character to mention. By the way, the top two are the only ones I put in order. But these last three, like they're all. I mean, it's in random order basically.
Yeah,
So my third
me
one,
too.
right? I think you're gonna disagree with this, Jude.
Um,
But my third one is Rohan Kishabe from JoJo. Uh, he is very. I feel he's underrated because people never really put him on the same pedestal on best Jobros like they do with the overrated Kakyoin, overrated Polnareff, the perfectly rated Bruno Bucciarati, or Caesar Zeppeli.
what? No. All right, I'll let you finish before I say it.
Yeah, like Rohan right now is my favorite Jobro. I think he's hilarious. I like how he's a very entertaining character to watch. Every time he's on screen, he steals the
Show.
show. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And he's one of the reasons why I love Diamond is Unbreakable so much. There's many reasons, Josuke, Jotaro, Kira, Koichi's and Okuyasu. Rohan is just he is so funny. He has one of my favorite stands in the whole show. It may be not as powerful, but definitely is really cool with how he works it and everything. It is not my favorite stand in the whole show. And he is not my favorite JoJo character. He's my favorite JoBro, but he's not my favorite JoJo character. I think he's better than Kakyoin. I think he's better than Polnareff. I think he's better than Caesar. I think he's better than Bruno. But keep in mind, I love Bruno and Caesar, by the way. They're like just barely behind him. But no one really talks about Rohan. And just how much of an entertaining character he is. And he's different from all the characters, like, because he's not, he's not really like the archetype. Because I don't know if this guy named Cosmo Variety Hour like made these like things for like these certain characters, which is like funny coward or a calm cool guy. And he is not in any of those categories. He's like his own self. I don't know any other character that's really like Rohan.
Douchebag.
He's not okay. He starts off as a douchebag, but
He's a
better. I
douchebag
love
the whole
his.
season.
I love what?
He's a douchebag the entirety of Part 4. The only person who he's not douchebag to is Koichi.
Which brings me to this point. I love his and Koichi's relationship. It's like a master student relationship, and I really like it. And every on the episodes of those two together, like the ones when they go to the valley, or whenever he has the stand on his back, are one of my favorite episodes in the whole show. Because he's just such an entertaining character, and he's like, his both his Japanese and English dub are fantastic and suit his character perfectly, I think. And basically, I love his like design too. It's like different and everything. Um, and it just, I think Rohan is great. He's definitely
All right. He's definitely not underrated, considering that he has an OVA, which is a lot more than any other Jobro can say. And he has a pretty massive fan base.
Really? I never see
Yeah.
anyone talk about him. I always say people say he's like. I always see people like saying he's Caesar, Bruno.
He's
How can we-
definitely more popular than Caesar.
I wouldn't say
I'm
that.
not- I would.
Because I looked up those polls and everything, and I always see like I don't even see Rohan on there. I see Caesar on there towards the bottom, obviously. But
Well, he's definitely not as rated as Bruno.
well, the thing is,
No.
he's not as what?
Like, definitely not like how like as popular as Bruno.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Bruno's is everyone's favorite, honestly. Or the overrated Kakyoin or Polar F. But by the way, because I'm saying they're overrated doesn't mean I don't like them. I still like those two. I just think they're overrated. I think the whole Stardust Crusaders like thing is overrated, but it's still, I think Rohan is great, and he's the best. He's one of the best parts of Part 4, definitely. He's not the most underrated character in that whole Part 4, but I'll mention that later. But
It's
think,
not like he stars in the worst episode in all of Part 4.
no,
already.
I disagree with you. I think that episode is fun and only good because of him. Because I hate that kid just as much as you do. But Rohan saves that whole episode because of how entertaining and just lovable that guy is. And I think,
can say
and
that's
you don't
douchebag's
understand.
moment.
Araki, he was one of Araki's favorite, and I totally understand.
That's why he has like 4 OVAs.
Yeah, because he's great.
He's okay.
And people don't really, get that, and including you. I'm just kidding. Where's he on your Joe Bros list?
He's, I don't know.
Who do you like more than him?
I like Okuyasu, Koichi, Caesar, Polnareff. I think there's one more.
There's no way you like that many characters more than him.
Joe Bros, you mean?
Or Joe Bros, yeah, sorry.
Let me check. Yeah, it just does. Okuyasu, Koichi, Polnareff, and Caesar.
Oh, so you like him better than Bruno?
I do like him better than Bruno.
Well,
The only thing about Bruno that I really like is his backstory.
his character's great too. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's okay.
Anyways,
I don't have anything.
yeah.
Any issues with him.
Rohan, every episode, like especially the Dice episode, is the freaking funniest episode in the whole show. Like whenever he's like doing the whole Dice game with freaking
Yeah.
Josuke. It's so funny, and basically, honestly, every episode with him, I love every episode. Well, okay, the Paper Rock Scissors episode is.
Jenkin
I don't
boy.
love it. I don't love it, but I do like it a lot. Well, I don't like it a lot. I like it, but every episode, like the highway one, like whenever he has the thing, like what's up with characters like going on his back and everything. But
That's true. Actually.
the highway, what is it called? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Highway Go-Go?
Highway Go-Go, and then the other one, the one that's stuck on his back, the one he can't like anyone, or he dies. Like
Yeah, it's in like the Thursday, like the 4-parter thing.
yeah, I can't think of what it's called, but I love that episode, and
Sorry.
basically his introduction episode is great as well. I think it's hilarious, like his power, just and then and the fact he's crazy too. It's just he's such an entertaining character. I love him so much.
It's alright. I just think you overrate him a little bit.
Nope, I don't think I am at all.
For my next one, I also have a Jobro with Koichi.
I can see that.
Koichi is the most underrated Jobro. He goes through the most development in Diamond is Unbreakable, more than any character. He goes through like some of the best development in all of JoJo's. He has one of the most interesting stands. And a cool thing about it, this isn't necessarily about him, but his stand Echoes is named after a Pink Floyd song, Echoes. And that song itself is over 20 minutes long. So there's 3 acts to Echo. Like as in like the 3 acts of like Echoes and stuff. Yeah.
I never knew that. That's cool. What the heck?
It is cool. And it's all because of Koichi. Koichi, honestly, in a way, aside from Josuke, he's kind of like the main character of Diamonds Unbreakable.
I think
Because
Kira is more of a main character than him.
well, he's the main villain, but he's like one of the main. He's like pretty much the main character because like it's narrated by him.
Oh yeah, that's
At
true.
least, yeah, it's narrated by him, and he's a nice guy. He sticks up for everyone. He pulls a baddie. He's just a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
He's-
I love Koichi. Like he's definitely in my
Oh.
top 5 also. Like Joe
Mm.
Bros. I just like Rohan more than him, but I definitely like him more than Okuyasu and like all those other ones I mentioned. Well, not Bruno and Caesar, but I definitely like him more than the other. He's probably my 4th favorite Joe Bro, to be honest.
He's my second.
He's great, and his development is great. Like I love how what's it called? Like the fact he becomes so useful and helpful towards the end when he's a weak and wimpy character at first, and becomes a really reliable guy. And the fact that even Jotaro acknowledges
Yeah.
him, and I think it's great.
He is Jotaro's son, so it makes sense.
Yeah, basically. And I definitely think Echoes is one of my favorite stands as well.
It's my 3rd or 4th favorite stand.
It's probably my top 5. I know I like Heaven's Door and what is it called? Deadly Queen, or how dare
Killer
I say
Queen.
that? Killer Queen.
How
And
dare you?
I know I can't believe I said that. And Shining Diamond just as much. Or
Wow,
Crazy
bro,
Diamond.
you didn't even get that right either.
God dang it, dude! The stupid dub.
Crazy Diamond is also another name from Pink Floyd.
Mhm.
Shine on, Crazy Diamond.
Yeah. He's great. I love his stand. Like it's so funny.
Okay, Master. Let's kill the whole beach.
Yeah, I love Koichi, and yeah, he is underrated. Because people, I think basically anyone like people's favorite is the Stardust Crusaders, which I mean I get, but I definitely like Part 4s are all of the Part 4's characters are Jobros are better, and Caesar's better, and Bruno's better. But yeah, Koichi's awesome, and I definitely like he's. I remember hearing like I don't really think he's underrated per se. I think he may be
Koichi?
underrated, but I know quite a few people like him. I remember saying on this one podcast I've watched. I'm not gonna name drop it or anything, but saying that him and Kira carry that whole show. Which I mean, I don't agree at all because those two are awesome, obviously, but I think the other characters like Jotaro, Josuke, and Rohan are just as great. Okuyasu, including him too. But yeah, I think people like it, but I mean,
Yeah, but I was watching this video of like this guy. His like I forgot the name of the channel, but he was doing like his like community based Jobro ranking, and Koichi was towards the bottom, like towards the bottom, not like somewhere in the
really?
middle. He was I think he was like in like bottom 5, and
that's
it's unfair because he's awesome,
yeah.
and he also has my favorite fight in the show with spoiler alert with him and Jotaro versus Kira,
Yeah,
like the first one.
yeah, that fight's great.
When,
And
Act 3 pops up.
Yeah, and the mind games he plays with Kira is great.
With sheer heart attack.
Yeah, it's just great seeing a character who was so weak and wimpy at first, and then he becomes a strong, reliable guy.
Yeah.
The fact that he's in Part 5, which they should
Yes,
have
he
had
is.
him way more in that show.
Wow.
They shouldn't. If they weren't going to use him, or if they were going to use him for the whole show, they should have not brought him in the first place.
I mean, at least he got to go on a trip somewhere, so that's
yeah.
cool.
And the fact that Jotaro, trusts him that much to do something like that
Yeah,
with
more
Dio's son,
than Josuke.
yeah, is like saying something. And he has one of the best stands in the whole show.
Yeah, and another thing is, it's his stands like evolving is very symbolic of him because
Yeah.
it starts as like like this weak but like not necessarily weak but like this weaker but respectable stand that like could do cool things, but there was still room to grow. And then with Act 2, it's a little it's a little bit better. But then with Act 3, he finally like shines, like, and he's even able to like put a wound on Kira, and like is like, and he's a main. Without him, they pretty much would have lost almost.
Oh
with
yeah, that's
him.
true. If it wasn't for him like stopping Kira's hand, like
Yeah.
they would have they
Yeah.
would have lost.
Mhm.
Yeah, just him becoming such a reliable guy is just really great, and I love it. And the fact I love the voice actor too.
Yeah, I was about to say he's also voiced by Aaron. So
Yeah,
that's
that
pretty
is
cool.
great. All right, so here's my second, and I really debated like which one should I mention first between these two, because these two I think are the most underrated characters on it. Like the other ones, I just they weren't in particular order, but these two are definitely in order, and I definitely think they're so underrated, and I think one of them in particular is overhated. And I am going to mention him right now. Endeavor from My Hero Academia. Like, Jude hasn't seen My Hero Academia yet, right? But Endeavor gets way too much hate than he deserves. Sir, he was first an abusive father and everything to Todoroki. You know, he was a bad person at first, right? And I understand why people hate him, right? And I personally, I didn't like him at first either. I thought he looked awesome, though. His character design was awesome, but yes, he was a horrible person, a horrible father. But then he goes on this little journey of character development, of him trying to become a better father, and a better person all in general. And that is showcased in that very first scene, whenever he's talking to All Might about what it means to be the #1 hero. You could see that he wants to change, because he realized how bad of a person he was at first, and how he needs to change, and how he basically broke his own family, his household, driving his wife insane, abusing his son, and ostracizing him in front of other siblings and everything, and driving one of his insane. I need to be careful, because that was almost a spoiler right there if I mentioned who that was. But he goes on this character journey, right, of him becoming a person, and that fight with Nomu, the best fight in the whole show, right, and definitely one of my favorite anime fights in general. He is so great in that. He becomes the #1 hero, and he realizes he needs to change as a person, because he realizes he's a pretty bad person. What he did, he's bad to his fans, he's bad to his his family, and he tries changing that whole thing. He goes on this, and I don't see why people can't see that and get over how he was at first. That's called character development, and people need to get over it. Because sorry, but I screw Todoroki, dude. I hate Todoroki. He is so freaking overrated. Like, he's cool at first, but then he just does nothing afterwards, and he's so boring and everything. And people over, oh, Todoroki's so great. Oh, Todoroki, and people, and most of the time it's just girls saying that just because he's quote unquote hot. He's a hot character and everything. Right? He is a boring character, so overrated, right? He goes through no character journey at all, basically. Well, he goes through one, right? But it is not as nearly as compelling as his father's. And his father tries to Endeavor trying to become a good person. He tries to fix his relationship with his own family, and then stuff happens to him. It makes it harder for him, and then people start hating him because of stuff and putting all blame on him because of a certain event. And his character development is one of the best ever. I'd say maybe top 5 even. I freaking love Endeavor, right? And he's definitely my favorite character in all of My Hero Academia. And he needs to stop getting all this hate. And maybe people don't see it as much because they haven't read the manga yet, like I have. But they should have seen it by how he told Todoroki. He came to Todoroki towards the end of season 4 and told him he wants him to be he wants Todoroki to be proud of him, to be proud that he's proud that he is the #1 hero now.
お前は自慢の息子だ。ならば俺も、お前が胸を張れるようなヒーローになろう。父はナンバー1ヒーロー。
Like, I adore Endeavor so much. He gets way too much hate. And if people still hate on him after all this stuff from the manga is out, I will definitely have no respect for My Hero Academia fans. Whew, I went on a little rant right there. Jeez.
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry. Endeavor gets way too much hate, and it's just for them stupid sims for Todoroki, who sucks. I really hope, Jude, when you eventually watch My Hero Academia, that you don't become one of those sims for Todoroki.
One of those. Don't worry.
And
I'm predicting that either All Might or All For One's gonna be my favorite. So we'll see.
And Endeavor's awesome, and he has one of the best character developments I've ever seen in the whole anime. I definitely think he is one of the best, and he does not deserve all the hate that he gets. And after this, like, I would say I get it if people haven't seen the manga yet, but then they forget the last couple episodes of season 4 of him, like, finding Nomu with Hawks and everything. It's my favorite episode of the whole show. Endeavor is phenomenal. Right.
Well, like you said, I haven't seen the show yet, so I can't really comment on it. I want to, but from everything that I've heard from you, Endeavor seems like a cool character, and I also like his design a lot. But yeah, respectable. I respect your statement. All right, for my last character, you probably saw this coming a mile away, Kyle, but I got Zeke Yeager. To anyone who hasn't seen the show, I'm sorry I spoiled that his last name is Yeager, but I mean,
I'm gonna put a spoiler in by the beginning of the video. So.
Oh, okay, well, cool. So now I can just go off. All right, Zeke. It's definitely died down now that his backstory episode came out in the anime, but it is a crime how much people hated on Zeke. Like, the amount of like memes I'd see and the amount of just like hate I'd hear on him about like how just awful he is, it's unfathomable. It's just, I can't, words can't describe how I feel, like the anger. It always just confuses me how people are like, he doesn't have to be such an awful person. He's the villain. It's not like he's just an awful person for fun. And he has some of the best writing in the whole show. His reasons are they're understandable, and they're also very relatable for me. He has some of like the best scenes. Like his whole entire backstory episode is my favorite Attack on Titan episode, and even objectively, I'd say it's in top 5 Attack on Titans episodes. Maybe it's not the best, but it definitely is in top 5. It's so interesting seeing his point of view. And honestly, that's what makes season 4 as a whole so interesting. Seeing the point of view of everyone else. Like, seeing the point of view of everyone on Marley, like with Reiner. Like, honestly, Zeke kind of like is getting like the Reiner treatment right now. Because at first everyone hated Reiner, and then everyone started to warm up to him. And now that's sort of what's happening with Zeke. But I feel like there's still those, no offense, Kyle, but I feel like there's those little slimy Levi fans out there that still hate him. And just like, okay, Levi's great and everything, but like the overrate Levi over Zeke when Zeke has way more development than Levi has, and has way more like emotional scenes and way more just growth and depth than Levi has. And Levi is great. Even I will admit that Levi is great. It's not like how you feel, Todoroki. I definitely think he's overrated, but and it's only overrated in the sense that he's not as good as characters like, Eren, Reiner, Zeke, and even like Erwin. He's way more like this isn't about Levi, this is about Zeke.
I like Zeke too. I definitely hated him at first because he killed my favorite character, which is Erwin. And I hated how he acted. He acted like such a annoying like prick whenever he's killing all the scouts and everything. Like,
he did it too.
It seems to. I know why, obviously. You can say why. Go ahead.
He did it to keep up the act with Peak, because Peak didn't know like his whole plan yet. And what's so interesting about that is because like a little bit before that, as the scouts were like running towards him, he was like, "Look at them just running towards their death. How meaningless they they don't know how meaningless this is." And he just like crushes the rock that he's holding into dust because of like the anger that he feels.
しまいには壁の中の奴ら全員年寄りから子供まで特攻させるんだろうな。どうせ誇り高き氏がどうとか言い出すとふざけやがって。
Yeah, I hated how he acted at first, but even then, like I then read the manga and then read all this stuff. I remember I even told you how great he is. I like Zeke and all, right? But I don't think he can ever enter my top 5 because I can't forgive him. Well, I can, but I don't want to. Of him killing my favorite character. And then he also does one other thing in the manga where he kills Colt. And I understand his reasoning. It still pisses me off that he did that. I love his backstory. I love his backstory and everything. I definitely hated. No, I hated him at first, not only because of that, but the fact that I thought he was a snitch when he was first introduced. I thought he was a snitch. He snitched out his mom and dad, and I hated that because I hate kids who snitch so much. And I thought he did that to save his own guts like a little coward. And I didn't definitely feel like he was a coward at first. And I freaking love that scene where he gets his butt whooped by Levi. It's such a satisfying scene. I still think that, even though I love, I don't love. Oh yeah, I say it. I love Zeke. But it's just, I definitely think he's underrated as well. By the way, he does get too much hate. If at first I said made sense, but if people still hate him now, it doesn't make any sense. He's difficult, and it helps a lot that he's voiced by Dio. But yeah, Zeke is definitely a great character and a very interesting character.
He's definitely a character that gets better with like context.
Yeah.
It's honestly a perfect example of like there's two sides to his story, because like in season 3, when all of like his actions were explained, you really only see the sides of like the scouts and Grisha. But then in season 4, you see everything that like Zeke was going through and everything that he was thinking. And I haven't seen this before yet, but what I'm really afraid I'm gonna see is people saying like, okay, so he's just doing this because he has daddy issues. No. like sure, like that's definitely a reason, but that would be so incredibly stupid if that was his only reason why, because he has issues with Grisha. No, it's because, and he even mentions it, and it's even like plays as a little flashback, like when he gets like the water splashed on him in the tower, and like he's literally called filthy trash and he deserves to die by this random dude that he never even met before, like just because of his race. And he, if I were him, I'd gain a very pessimistic outlook on life too. And while I certainly don't agree with his goals of let's go ahead and remove the uteruses of all Eldians so that they, none will have to be birthed anymore, but it's also it's a reasonable and understandable plan. It makes sense. It's not like it comes out of left field.
That's true. Yeah, he's great. He is underrated, and he's definitely better than most characters that people like. I definitely think he's better than that little comedic trio, and
You mean John, Connie, and Sasha?
yeah, and then 100 million times better than Mikasa. But yeah, I still like, there's more characters like say Eren, Reiner, Erwin, Levi. Yes, I like Levi a lot more than him, and maybe Armin as well. Him and Armin are like tied basically for me.
Blonde
but
voice.
he's definitely very underrated and he gets too much hate. And I hope I agree with you. I hope that changes soon since his backstory came out. And he probably has my favorite backstory in Attack on Titan. If I think.
I mean, the only two. Well, actually, never mind. There's like 3 that are really interesting, and those are, I think, are the only really important 3 in the whole story. So, which is Grisha, Reiner, and Zeke.
Yeah. So you think he's the most underrated character ever?
Well, I wouldn't say that. It's just he's from like the characters that I like. He's like the most underrated character.
All right, I wanted to be. For my number
He's
one.
also my favorite anime character, so
Oh yeah, I was waiting for you to
it
mention
makes
that.
sense.
He's your favorite.
Why I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense why I feel that strongly about him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, even me who doesn't love him as much as you do, I definitely think he's very underrated. For my number one, I wanted to be a huge troll, and basically say my favorite anime character ever, which is Vegeta, since I think I was gonna say he's underrated because people don't give him as much love. But I can. That's just my bias, and I think Dragon Ball just gets too much hate. That's why he doesn't get as much love as he should. But so I didn't mention him. And also, I was gonna mention Erwin as well, because I think he's underrated. But I don't think he's that as underrated as the guys I mentioned, because people do love him. You know, I'm gonna give just a couple honorable mentions right now. I think he's underrated. I think Mirio from My Hero Academia, Thors from Vinland Saga, Kirei from Fate Zero, and Todo from Jujutsu Kaisen. I think all of those guys are underrated.
Okay.
But
Can I give some too?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'll just give 3. I have Scar from Full Metal, Piccolo, and Kiritsugu.
Kiritsu, okay. Mine number 1. I think he's the most underrated character ever. Maybe not ever, because I haven't seen all anime. But he is so criminally underrated. I'm surprised you didn't say him either, Jude. But
Well, because I mean,
you knew I was gonna say him.
yeah.
So my number 1 most underrated character ever, anime character I should say, is Josuke Higashikata from JoJo Part 4. The best JoJo. Oh my god, I love Josuke. People don't give him much love because he's not as cool as, say, Joseph, Giorno, or maybe even, let's say, even Jolene, maybe. But
Yeah.
I think maybe not as cool as them, but he's just a more well-rounded character. Because he's not just cool, he's not just funny. He's a regular dude. He's just a kid who, out of nowhere, gets, all this information given to him. He's the son of Joseph. He is a Stan user. There's a killer in his hometown and stuff like this. He's just a normal kid who goes to high school still. And he feels like a human. I love all the other JoJos, right? I mean, I love all of them. Even though I think Giorno is hella overrated, I still love him. But Giorno is the only JoJo that feels like a human. He has real human problems. He feels like a human. He acts like one. And he's so relatable. And my favorite moment of his in the whole show is when he first meets Joseph. He's flustered, he's embarrassed, he's shy.
足元気をつけねえとよ海に落っこちるぜしょうがねえな俺の手に捕まんなえ
Josuke didn't acknowledge him as his father, but he doesn't hate him. He doesn't hate him, and he shows him respect. And I loved the episode with him and Joseph. And his moment with I love his first moment with Joseph. It's so endearing. And Josuke as a character is endearing. His relationship with Okuyasu and Koichi is like they actually seem like friends and everything. Unlike, say, I'm sorry, but I don't think Jotaro and Kakuin, they don't seem as friends at all. I don't think there's hardly any scenes of them interacting. And when Jotaro, when he finds out that Kakuin dies, he hardly shows any emotion. But when Josuke, he thinks Okuyasu dies, he almost has a breakdown. Not a breakdown, but he cries and refuses to believe that his best friend dies.
奥安さんを抱えていてはやられてしまう追い詰められて必ず食らってしまう
さっきからうるせえぞ隼人奥安とは気が合うんだこいつは俺の友達なんだ
を直した時奥安さんは
やめろやめろそれ以上言うなってね
He's such a humanized character, and he feels like he's the only character in all of JoJo, I think, who feels like an actual human. And I love him. He's my favorite JoJo, and he's my second favorite JoJo character. People say Josuke is boring. He's not as interesting as Jotaro, Joseph. He's not as funny. He's just not as cool as those guys. And I completely disagree. He's definitely one of my top 10 favorite anime characters in general. I love Josuke. He has my favorite stand in the whole show. He is so smart with the way he uses it. The way he uses his stand against Kira. The way he uses his stand against Angelo. What else? And the fact that he heals everything, but the fact that he can't heal himself, he's not overpowered like Giorno, where he could, they both have healing powers, but Giorno can heal himself. Josuke can't heal himself, so he has to do all this like heavy load by himself without him having the risk of dying and not being able to be healed up. He's hilarious. I think he's hilarious as well. And overall, he's an amazing character. He does not get as much love as he should. When people say he's boring, it pisses me off that people say that when he is amazing. He may be not as cool as say Jotaro, but he's just as lovable, and he's one of the main reasons why like part 4 is the best part in all of JoJo. I think I haven't seen all of I haven't seen all of the other parts like part 6, 7, or 8, but it's my favorite part, and he's definitely one of the reasons why, and I love him.
I mean, Josuke is awesome. I love him too, and I don't disagree with anything that she said. I think he's very underrated too. He's the best JoJo by far. He's the most well-written JoJo. He honestly, like all of the other, like none of the other JoJos are relatable, and especially Giorno, like becoming a whole mob boss at 15.
Yeah.
Anyways, but like like you said, Josuke just feels like a regular dude. He's just very relatable to me because of the whole father stuff. I've said that so much. He's my second favorite JoJo character too. Kira's my favorite as well. I mean, he can't not be because he's just the best. But yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely deserves more love.
Personally, I don't think there's another JoJo that could beat him for me. I'm even taking in acknowledge of like part 6 Jolene, part 7 Johnny, and then
Gappy,
which is also named as Josuke in part 8.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will ever beat Josuke, and I think for the fact that he's so underrated makes me love him even more. It's just he is awesome. He's my favorite JoJo. He has my favorite stand. He's all around. He's a great character. Like 10 out of 10 for me.
He's way better than Giorno will ever be.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, he's better than I was even gonna say Jonathan, by the way, for underrated characters, because I think Jonathan gets way too much hate. But it's nothing compared to freaking Josuke. He's the best. It really was a struggle for me to pick between him and Kira, but Kira is just he's just
for favorite JoJo characters.
Yeah, my favorite JoJo character. But Kira's just more of an entertaining character. Not by much. Not by much.
Yeah,
but,
he's
great. I love Josuke.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love him.
All right, that's our 5 right there. Tell us in the comments if you disagree or agree with us. We're gonna be doing a similar video of our thing with 5 overrated characters. Which I think that's gonna be such an easy video for us to make.
True.
Yeah, it was kind of tough for me to make this like 5 underrated because I don't know, because I wouldn't say, I don't know characters if they're underrated, or I just think they're underrated because people don't love them as much as me. That's why I didn't put Arifin, because I don't know if people I don't think he's really underrated. I just love him so much, and I think he's underrated because people don't love him as much as me. But that doesn't really make him underrated. But yeah, so let us know what you think in the comments. See if you disagree with us. You have anything else to say, Juice?
No, I'm good.
Alright, we'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.